So here's where the van is now, and how it looks and everything. Wasn't nothing really to bolt the transmission to, so I just supported it with some wood. But what I wanted to show y'all is this guy claims that he thinks that I didn't order any parts for his van or whatever, you know, and that I wasn't doing anything. But those of you that have been watching my videos, well, you know that those are new injector cups, and I spent a lot of time working on the heads and this block to clean it up and all. But anyway, I just want to show y'all. Here's what his van looks with all his junk piled up in it. There's his oil cooler. His drive shaft's laying there. His clutch fan blades and water pump. His oil and transmission cooler. There's his fuel back. Here's his fuel bowl front cover. I'm letting him take his waste fluids with him. There's the radiator that he supplied and fan shroud. The inside of the doghouse and everything was removed when I got this van, so I'm not going to do anything about any of that. And there's the grill, air conditioner, condenser, and here sits his turbocharger with the Wicked Wheel 2 installed in it. And he actually saw the Wicked Wheel 2. He knows I was buying parts. He was just trying to be difficult. And there's all kinds of parts in here. Here's other things like his valve covers, the valve cover gasket harness, old pickup tube, engine rear cover, hold downs for the lifters. Here's some of the new parts that he doubts that I bought: oil filter, fuel filter, exhaust manifold gaskets. Oh look, there's a set of head gaskets too, brand new. Riff-raff diesel boots for his turbo Y-pop. Here's the box that the piston rings came in. And for when he decides he wants to take me to court and all, so I can make him look like he is. You know, here I've got my invoices proving that I did actually buy parts for this thing. But, you know, that's fine that he doesn't want to believe me, because I think it's funny. So you can see here that I did purchase all this stuff. And there's the bill for 10 of the 25 plus cans of brake cleaner that was used on this thing. And of course, and there's other invoices in there too. And you know, because I ordered online, it's nothing for me to get my invoices and stuff. So, you know, I'm not going to give them to him because they're not really his, they're mine. I'm the one that purchased the parts. He purchased these parts from me, so he has his invoice. So, you know, you can tell that these boxes haven't even been opened. If you watch the video of me building the engine, you're going to see that I installed brand new out of the box bearings and all in the block, and injector cups and all that. So, you know, and also right here, guys, is 2 boxes of his head bolts, brand new from Velcro. There's his engine wiring harness. Down there we have the rear main and front main. Here we have the rear main bearings and the front bearings for his crank, and of course a brand new Spectra oil pan. And here's the exhaust manifolds, still in their bag. You can tell that these have never been used. Their box that I completely failed to show is right here in this box is his fuel injectors. Injectors. So there's, in this box here, we have his push rods. You can see one fell out there. His lifters and his rockers. So this box, everything that goes under his valve cover pretty much. And then these are the fuel injectors. And all 8 of them are in this box. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There's 8 fuel injectors here in this box. Set those back there. Guy wants to say how he doesn't think that I ordered the parts. Okay, sure. Think what you want to think. That doesn't make it the truth. Alright, let's continue on with the tour of the parts in this van here. Right there is his flywheel, some of his mounting hardware. There sets his transmission, supported up by wood because there's nothing to mount the front of the thing to. 4-inch air filter from Wix, 4-inch downpipe from Diamond Eye, which he saw all this stuff. He knows I was buying parts, but whatever. But you can see here that this order from Rock Auto, I've been ordering the parts back in September. So this guy's accusation that I wasn't ordering the parts for his van's completely a lie. Anyway, I'm going to video whatever happens with whatever confrontation goes on when whoever comes to pick up this van, and I'll make sure to include that too. So here it's time to start on the engine assembly. To start with, I'm going to start with the piston rings, and these are all D&J brand. On the piston rings, it's PR 4200 STD, because I'm just doing standard size for an engine that hasn't been bored out. And here is the rod bearings, RB 4200, and the main crank bearings, which is MB 4200, all for standard size engine that hasn't been machined. So anyway, on your rings, you're going to want to make sure and follow whatever instructions are provided. Here's the box. Here's the brand new Wicked Wheel 2. And on this, and also to make sure that this van stays here on my property, we've locked it up to my 30-foot Holiday Rambler. I figured that's a good place to hook it up to. This thing's a rust bucket from I don't know what. But you can see by looking in the hole there that the frame's eating up. You look back there, this thing's just a pile of junk. And here's your one last view of the engine block. What the holdup actually was with this is some of these caps on the rods got mixed up, and I needed to spend some time to sort them back out, and that's why I couldn't get the crank to turn. I'll release that video eventually where I was just kind of baffled as to why the crank wouldn't spin, and I think I got 3 of the caps on the wrong places. If you mix these caps up with these rods, they won't work. But anyway, so that made the guy frustrated, and he told me he just wanted me to throw all the stuff in the back of the van, and he wanted to pick it up. And really what he's mad about is that he can't return the parts that I ordered. But that's probably why when this van sit here for about 6 weeks or so, he was hoping he would get me to charge up the parts so that he could just turn around probably and jank me around for the payment that I was due on that as well, just like how we're turning around here fighting over 160 bucks. See guys, I got this from the State of Tennessee Department of Revenue, and there's the vehicle information request and all that. And that's what it costs to get one of these back, is $7.50. And I can't show you this actual page because there's personal information of the owner of the van on there. And here I explained to him that I wanted to file a mechanic lien for failure to pay for labor rendered after owner requested repairs be made, and then later changed his mind because the parts that were needed, and owner refuses to pay for labor done to remove engine and tear down the engine for inspection of damage. Now that's originally what was going on, because he wasn't talking to me, and after 30 plus days, you know, it was time to get on with this. And there's where I signed it, and there's where the Department of Revenue received and stamped it on September the 11th, 2015. And copy of his invoice and stuff also was sent to the state, so they were aware that there is money owed on this van, but I will have to mail them an amendment to this showing that at the current he only owes $160. Okay. And then can't really show you much of this, but I got the registration for it there. And all that, but probably what is more interesting is that what's probably more interesting is that when I ran this report, I even got the buyer's order from where he purchased the van from, and how much he purchased the van for, $6,800. And I mean, and I also got copies of the title and all that, which the name on the title now is not the actual owner. This is the title before the or the owner before the man that owns it now. So anyway, in the state of Tennessee, that's how a lien works. You just have to submit your documentation to the Tennessee Department of Revenue and show where they owe you money, and explain the situation a little, and they'll send you a copy of the information on the vehicle so that if there's any other owners or lien holders, that you can notify them that you are attaching a mechanic's garage holder or labor lien on the vehicle. And so at this point, this vehicle won't be leaving my property until I get my $160. Alright, here let's quickly put these bearings in the connector rod cap, sorry. We'll go ahead and put a bearing in it. These have a key so that they can only go in one way. And that goes into a groove here. It's on the connecting rod. And now you can put these bolts in whenever you want, but I went ahead and hammered them back in with a rubber hammer after they were cleaned up with some solvent. Okay, so let's install the bearings into the crankshaft bridges. So you've got a notch on that just like the rest of them, except no oil hole because the bridge doesn't have that. So take your bridge, line up that little groove there. And there you go. This, of course, is the one for the rear of the crankshaft, so make sure it goes there. So here's how you install your main bearings or crank bearings. The ones that attach directly to the block and not to the bridges, they're the ones that get the hole that's in them. And you start by placing the there's a notch right there, and you place that where the notch is and the raceway for the bearing to go. And you just fish it in there.
Why don't you have gloves?
Because this makes it easier.
Is it greasy?
That's what I'm thinking. A little bit. Crap, I can't remember which side's which. Oh yeah, this is it. This is the side that gets... Because if they go like this, it'll cause more blow-by in your engine. It won't seal it as well, so you always make sure that these are 180 degrees away from each other. You just go ahead and install that into the oil ring groove. And take note of where it is. And for these rings, it will be a little difficult if you're using the cheap tool here, but you can get it, no big deal. So anyway, this ought to be interesting. I'll make sure and video whatever confrontation happens with my glasses that I have that's a camera, and that ought to be fairly interesting. And we'll just go from there. If he doesn't want to pick up his van, then in 29 days, then I'll be able to go ahead and auction the thing off. So one way or another, it's going to be out of here shortly and out of my way. You know, if the guy had wanted it done quickly, it's beyond me why he took more than 6 weeks to pay me to even get the job started, but you know, whatever. The emails that the guy sent me, he tried to make it some kind of personal argument on later, you know, and I just told him, you know, you're going to have to save that for the judge, because I'm not going to sit there and be drawn into some kind of a personal argument or whatever. This is about that you purchased work and parts from me, and I expect to be paid. And somehow he thinks that I'm stealing from him because I expect to be paid for my time and my material. But whatever, you know, there's a lot of people that will come up with the most cockamamie excuses to try and rob people. So anyway, you know, I will let y'all know what goes on with that fiasco, but now y'all see why this rebuild on this van's not going to go forward. So you know, up until the point where I was putting the rod caps on and stuff, I don't have any more video putting the engine together. But I will be releasing all the other video that I shot of the van here shortly, now that I've not got that to work on. So anyway, I appreciate your all's time for watching my troubles and I mean videos, and As always, my friends and viewers, praise the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Hope He richly bless and guide you and your families. Have yourselves a great day.